Hello, I am Mac, at least for a day, and everything's going to be okay. In this video, I'm going to be discussing the possible Thanksgiving update to No Man's Sky for 2021. Now, I call it a Thanksgiving update because in the past couple years, we've gotten a update to No Man's Sky close to when we celebrate Thanksgiving in America. Hello Games has never called it the Thanksgiving update. Um, I know last year the update actually landed on Thanksgiving Day, so the very day that the update downloaded, it was the same day that I needed to go to my sister's house to celebrate Thanksgiving with her family. So, yeah, that's why I call it the Thanksgiving update, because we seem to usually get an update around Thanksgiving. And a lot of signals point to that happening again this year because the current Emergence expedition ends on, I believe, November 22nd, which is very close to Thanksgiving. So if Hello Games is planning to do an update right after the expedition ends, then yeah, that should be when the update happens, right around that time, close to Thanksgiving in America. Hello Games is in the UK, so they don't even celebrate Thanksgiving. So I don't think it's that they're trying to make the update happen on Thanksgiving. It's just that that's the time that they usually do an update. And by the way, the last update of the year. So that's another thing I should probably break to people is that this update that comes near the end of November is the last update we get for No Man's Sky for the year. Not the last update ever, but at the last update of the year is usually in November. And in the past, people have like gotten hyped for some kind of Christmas update, but we've never gotten that. We've never gotten a Christmas update. I think the only year, well, I don't know if we ever even got we may have gotten an update in December some year, but usually we never get an update um, during the holiday season. So the end of November is usually the last update of the year, and then we have to wait until spring usually before we get another update. So um, anyway, I definitely think we'll get an update at the end of November. So what I'd like to discuss is what do we think we're going to get in this update. A couple things that we really need is an update to settlements. I'm at my settlement right now, kind of as a visual aid for that. And I've shown this before, but when you upgrade your settlement, you get a bunch of these. These are supposed to be devices. When you go to build them, they say that these are like hazard protection devices and such, but they are what I like to call glorified closets. They're just these box rooms that have nothing in them. Um, so if they were to do an update to improve settlements, I hope that they would actually put some kind of device inside these little rooms that actually do something rather than just having a closet that is supposedly a some of them are supposedly communication things, some of them are hazard protection buildings, but none of them actually have anything in them. So, yeah, I don't know what was supposed to be up with those. So, hopefully, they'll improve that. And the other thing is, if you go, I don't know if it's like this for every settlement, but I was able to build two bazaars at my settlement, and all the bazaars seem to have we have this counter that has an NPC selling something, but then there's another counter over here that's empty. So it definitely seems like if they were to make some improvements to settlements, they could add an extra vendor at this desk over here that could be selling something new, something special. There's also a tent over here with although this looks like it's just kind of an eating area so people could sit at, but I guess they could put a vendor here selling stuff. But this looks more like a little picnic spot that people could eat at. But definitely this counter looks like they could add an additional NPC to sell things. Um, but that's one thing that I really hope they do is I hope they continue to add to there's my other bazaar. I hope they continue to add to the settlement system because um, right now there's not a lot you can do with it. Once you fully upgrade it, you can build a bunch of buildings. You get some resources from it, but I mean, if the main purpose of settlements is just to give players more resources that they can sell for money, I mean, there's so many things in the game already that we get money from. It seems kind of pointless to have another thing that just gives us money. It'd be nice if there was a lot more interactivity and additional features with settlements besides just getting money. Uh, Speaking of which, why don't we look at this and I can show you what I'm talking about. See, right now, since I haven't been playing lately, I've got like 300 some of these items. I probably shouldn't do that. It's going to fill up my inventory. Yeah, it did. Oh, wow, yeah, I can't even... Oh, well. And also I have a settlement decision. Let's do that real quick. Oh. Our experts are examining a sweeping trend of localized EMP devices among the citizens. They trust the overseer shares their concerns and will take a sensible course of action. So there's a trend of sweeping EMP devices. So if I ban the EMP devices, it will decrease happiness. So I'm going to not ban because I want to increase happiness. That'll give us some... Oh, that's going to increase my daily maintenance, but that's okay. I'm not in debt, so I will do that. Let's see how that looks. 38? Wait, I guess that is... Oh man, I thought I had higher happiness than that. Oh well. I guess that decreased my productivity some. But anyway, the main thing I want for the quote-unquote Thanksgiving update is an improvement to settlements. Add additional features, because once you build all the buildings, it's pretty boring. The other thing they might do is they might finally do the space station core, make it so that we can do something else with space station cores. I'll go to the space station, and I mean, most people know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to just use visual aid here for this video. And so the space station cores were added this year, and like I said earlier, this is the last update. If we get an update at the end of November, that'll be the last update for this year. So it would make sense for them to finally do something else with the space station cores this year, since this is the year they added them. Of course, there's no guarantee that they will, but time will tell, I guess. But yeah, so I believe it was the Visions update. Yeah, the Visions update, which was like the early summer update this year. They added these space station cores that didn't really do anything. We could interact with them, and at the time we didn't have a device that would... we didn't have the input override device, so we didn't know what would happen if we did that. Then in, let me think. Yeah, it was the third expedition that we finally got fairly recently. In the third expedition, one of the rewards was the space station override device. And unfortunately, it didn't really do anything. If you use the space station override device, it just says that counterfeit code detected, and it blocks you from doing anything. So right now, even if you have a station override device, it still doesn't do anything. I'm hoping that they will add a new feature. It would make sense if it was similar to the settlement system, where if you have a space station override device, you can take over a space station, and then there will be like special decisions that you can make at the space station override device. basically running a space station like we run settlements, making decisions that will make changes to the space station and stuff like that. Um, so that's another possibility, is they might finally give us additional features at the space station override device or space station core um, there. So those are my two main ideas. I don't know what else they might do for the Thanksgiving update of 2021, but settlements are something that we need additional features for. I really hope they don't just leave settlements as they are and not add more features to it. That's kind of a bad habit that Hello Games has had over the years, is they add a new feature and then they never fine tune it to where it's more useful. A good example is the mech suit. They added the mech suit, and I've complained about this countless times, but the mech suit is the worst vehicle. It's the least useful out of all the vehicles. Um, it's kind of sad that, I mean, it was the last vehicle they ever added, and yet they never fine-tuned it and added features to it to make it more useful. Well, they did add a few new features, like they added the terrain manipulator to it and stuff like that, but they never like made it really useful. Like if they wanted to make it really useful, they could have added armor to it, made it so that it was actually stronger in combat than fighting on foot, given us some things that you would have to fight using the mech suit that like almost impossible to fight on foot. You would have to use the mech suit or something like that. But yeah, that's just one example of many, many different features that Hello Games have added but have never fine-tuned to where it's actually a useful part of the game. Um, I've talked about this in other videos. Things like the oxygen harvester. Um, I don't think anyone really uses oxygen harvesters because it's so much easier to just get oxygen other ways. Why would you use the oxygen harvester? It'd be nice if they would fine-tune the gameplay in No Man's Sky so that everything or most things that are in the game are really useful in some situations. But as it is, it seems like Hello Games is just adding new features that aren't really doing a whole lot to improve the gameplay of the game. I still play mostly the same way I do. Every time I play a new game, I do the storyline for No Man's Sky, and then I play with whatever new features they've added, and then I'm pretty much done with that new feature. And then the next update we get, the next big anniversary update we get, I will play through the game again, do the storyline, while also checking out the new features they've added, but then I never really revisit those new features. Big exception to this is the Desolation update. The freighter dungeons are one of the best things they've ever added, and something that I wish they would do again is add more procedural dungeons for us to explore. But that is probably like my favorite new feature they've added in the past couple years. Everything else that they've added have been cool, but don't really last very long. They don't really. I'm just rambling, but you get it. It's great that Hello Games keeps adding new features, but then they don't continue fine-tuning them so that they continue to be a useful part of the game. So yeah, I hope they continue to add things to the settlements so that they are more useful than they are now, and maybe they will do an update where the space station cores actually do something. But let me know what you think. What would you like for the Thanksgiving update that is probably coming at the end of this month, November? But anyway, I've been Mac. Thank you for joining me for a day, and remember, everything's going to be okay. Special thanks to my monthly supporters, Shell Owens, JSpot51, Shannon and Jeremy, Marquis BS, Meg Payton, Gwenny, Renee McLeod, Mayogi. It's friends like you that motivate me to keep creating.